Alright guys, so today we're going to talk about pee. We're going to talk about urination at night, whether or not it affects your sleep, how it affects your sleep, how many times should you pee per night or not, and how can you best deal with it so that it doesn't interrupt your sleep if you do have to go pee. Let's do it. So peeing, natural part of life. A healthy human being, a well-hydrated human being, will pee at regular intervals. If you haven't peed for the last 5 hours, you are definitely dehydrated, okay? So, although measuring hydration by urination frequency is not a perfect science, I've heard typically, and it corresponds with my own experience, somewhere between 8 to 12 times per 24 hours is healthy amounts of peeing. If you pee more than that, you're probably drinking too much water, or maybe you have a blood sugar disorder. If you're peeing less than that, you're probably not drinking enough water or not consuming enough high water fruit. Anyway, the matter at hand is peeing at night though. So I personally find that when I'm perfectly hydrated and when things are fairly normal, I typically pee about 2 times per night. I pee twice a night. Sometimes I find myself peeing 3 times a night, but that's typically because of some reason, something is a little bit out of balance maybe, and I also do make an effort not to drink a lot of water right before I go to bed because I don't want to pee 3 times a night. I find I'm happiest when I pee once a night, but that's a little bit too low in terms of optimal hydration, I find. Then I wake up in the morning feeling not perfectly hydrated. So a couple of times at night, typical for me, and perfectly healthy. Here's the thing, a lot of people think that if you pee at night, if you have to go pee at night, it interrupts your sleep. And that's actually a myth. And I spoke about this myth in depth in my new book, Sweet Dreams. I'll put a link to it here. It's a guide to optimizing the conditions for quality sleep. Basically, the idea is that when you sleep, well, it's not an idea actually, it's a fact, it's science. When you sleep, you actually don't sleep, you don't sleep for like 8 hours in one block. It actually goes through cycles. So you have periods of the night where you're sleeping deeply and other periods where you're sleeping lightly, and you go through this cycle, and it typically takes roughly 90 minutes, 1.5 hours to go through this cycle. And every 90 minutes then, after going down into deep sleep, coming back up again, you actually surface and you wake up. Actually, you wake up. And when you look back at a good night's sleep, I'm sure you can remember, there are those times at night where you just all you remember is turning around, or you just remember waking up, having a thought, and then falling back asleep again, or you barely remember waking up even. Those are those moments in between sleep cycles. And actually when you're dreaming, that's happening closer to the surface. You're not dreaming when you're in deep, you're dreaming at that sort of surface level. So that's almost like being awake essentially. It's the sort of in-between land when you're dreaming. So that means that you wake up every 90 minutes anyway, and if you have to pee, you notice, I have to pee in that little brief moment where you're awake, and you pee, and you go back to bed, and you fall back asleep, and you go into a new cycle. You didn't interrupt anything, you didn't wake up because you had to pee, you noticed that you had to pee because you woke up. You see, there's a difference there, they're opposite. So it doesn't really wake you up. Of course, if you're drinking way too much water and you have to pee all the time, sure, it might wake you up because it might make you just uncomfortable having to pee that much all the time. If you have to pee before the 90 minutes is up, etc., it's going to be uncomfortable. But in a normal human being, in a healthy, naturally, perfectly hydrated human being, you're just simply going to wake up, notice you have to pee, and go pee, and that's it. Here's my trick though, because when you have to go to pee at night, let's face it, you end up sometimes, well, most people, they have to maybe turn on the light or use a flashlight or something, find their way to the bathroom, turn on the light there, pee, flush, wash your hands perhaps, go back to bed, and it's just like the whole ordeal. It's a little bit stimulating, and the light exposure is also very stimulating, so it actually kind of makes it more difficult to fall back to sleep. You know, it should be fine, it shouldn't be a big deal, but I find that if I can avoid all of that, it's so much better. That's why I have my pee bottle, my pee bucket in this case. I have a bucket here that I pee in at night. At home, I'm in Nice now, France. At home in Norway, I actually have a jar with a lid on, which is a little bit better, but no problem. You know, I have this bucket. What I do is I wake up, I simply, in the dark, I don't even have to open my eyes, I'm naked. I just get up, I just stand up, I pee, and then I sit down again. That's it. So easy. And for girls, of course, this is a little bit different. But you know, back in the day, they had potty. I don't know if that's the word. Potties, a potty. But you know, get a potty. Just have like a bigger bucket, I guess, or a normal bucket if you have good aim. And just squat on the floor and pee, and that's it. Then you go back to bed. You don't have to open your eyes. The whole thing takes like 20 seconds, and then you're back into a new sleep cycle. You know, no problem at all. That's a trick that I use, and I feel like it's so important, so valuable to have that pee bucket, to have that pee bottle. And for those, you know, morons out there that will say, "Oh, that's unhygienic." Pee is sterile, okay? Pee is like completely clean. There's no bacteria in it. It's just waste product. And as long as you wash your pee bucket the day after, just with water, doesn't have to use soap even, it's fine. No problem at all. No smell. Literally no smell. And I've just rinsed it with water. So it's all good. And you know, as I said, I did write an ebook, recently released, Sweet Dreams, a guide to optimizing the conditions for perfect sleep. I've always struggled with sleep, something has been my weak link, so to speak. And so I've learned to focus on all those little things in order to, you know, every little bit counts basically. So the pee bucket is one of those little things that helped me improve my sleep. And if you have tried it or if you do it already, please let me know in the comments what you think about it. And check out my book, Sweet Dreams. There's a link in the description, so you can go and read more about it and perhaps buy it. If you bought it already, let me know what you think. Tons of great tips. There's more talk there about urination at night as well, and a whole bunch of other things relating to sleep and having good conditions for good sleep. Please subscribe and stay tuned for more. Peace.